For my next guest, music was never a choice. It was his destiny. I'm Penny Lane and welcome to In the Driver's Seat. From the moment he was born in Jamaica, Kes Nnamdi was destined for a career in music, and I am so pleased to say that he joins me now. Kes Nnamdi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. You know, it's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, I'm pleased you could join us. Now, Kes, could you have ever avoided a life that wasn't in music?
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll never know that because I made the decision to do, I believe that in life, there's many different sides of you that exist within you deep down, but you have to now make that decision of which subject gets expressed, you know what I mean? Which version of you gets expressed into this world, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and your early years.
I chose music, you know?
I'm glad you did. Very glad you did.
Yeah.
Now tell me about your early years growing up, because you were surrounded by music. Was your mum and dad in a reggae band?
Yes, my mom and father, they were in a band called Chakula, which means food in Kiswahili, but it's really spiritual food,
Yeah.
And, in the household, we were in a very musical home, we had a studio at home. My parents were rehearsing a lot for a lot of the shows that they were doing when they were in the circuit and doing a lot of shows. You know what I mean? So naturally, it was always there. It's not something that I was like really into or I was really talented at a young age.
Yeah.
But I would always go and fool around with the drums. It was really my sisters who could actually sing, It's not until like later down in my life, like when I reached like 12, 13, when I really started to do my own deep dive into music. But we recorded and fooled around with our music from early stage. So obviously it was natural and normal for me. I thought it was a normal life actually because that's what I grew up and seen. It's not until when I left my house now, I started to go to other people's homes and realize like not everybody's parents do music,
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Not everybody's that blessed. So how old was you when you released your first track?
Well, it wasn't professionally released, but my mom was working on a children's album at the time called Save the World. And I was probably around like 6, 7 years old, and it was a song about mixing colors. And I remember that vividly. I remember that memory being in the studio with a bunch of musicians, remembering the clock because we studio, you know what I mean? So I remember that being my first serious setting, but I started releasing music when right in between going to college and leaving high school.
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
bless you.
Yeah.
And is that when you
the
moved? And is that when you moved to Tanzania? And what impact did that have as a teenager and you as an aspiring artist?
Well, I left Jamaica when I was about 13 years old, and, growing up on an island, you're really on an island, you're surrounded by a body of water, you know what I mean? So getting that opportunity as a young child, it's crazy. Like going you think about it, like moving from, I didn't even know what Tanzania was. My mother had to show me on the map at the time, and I thought, do what every teenager would think at that time, you know what I mean? Like, yo, we're going to live with the monkeys, with the zoo,
Wow.
That's what I'm thinking as a young, ignorant child, But now when we got there now, we lived in Tanzania for 3 years and we lived in Ethiopia for 3 years, and it was more developed than even my home country, Jamaica, you know what I mean? So, but that was an experience, and definitely being exposed to so much different cultures, different languages, different foods, different tribes, different in just one country in Addis in Ethiopia. There's like 50 plus different languages, and it's just crazy. So
That's
it
a lot
definitely
to
impacted
take in.
me, as a young youth, and then, understanding, Africa now and what it means to Rastafari, and like growing up under that house and the teachings of my father and mother, and like becoming an adult in Africa now, because I graduated in college in Ethiopia. So I went from a teenage age to early adulthood there, you know. So
How did
yeah, it
living in
was.
Africa shape your view of the world?
It just let me think broader, you know,
Did
and
it?
it just like it. I think it matured me very quickly, you know,
Yeah.
a lot quicker because you're in a place that you don't really know the language, you don't know the culture. You're like you don't really know, you know what I mean. So you kind of have to like look more within yourself a lot more. You know what I mean? So I feel like, but yeah, Africa, man, like growing up, that's all we heard about in the household, Africa, you know, and Ethiopia and, you know, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, Haile Selassie the first was born there. You
In
know what I mean? So,
Ethiopia?
and this is in Ethiopia, who is a great king from Ethiopia, from the line of King Solomon, you know, and this is what we grew up learning his teachings from my father coming right up to having my own view of life, you know. So being in Ethiopia and being exposed to the culture directly, this is what Rastas in Jamaica dream of doing, you know. So we got that opportunity. Is like, you know,
Yeah,
give
very
thanks for
blessed,
the
very
vision
blessed.
of my parents, you know.
So
Yeah.
tell me about how you went to America on a soccer scholarship, or football, we'd call it in England.
Yes, so we went to St. Mary's College, you know, and we went there to play football, or you know, as you say, that's what we call it in Jamaica, not soccer, but football. And um, history has it, you know, the first year I was trying out for the team and doing my thing and working with the team, and then I blew my knee. I
Oh,
tore my meniscus and my MCL instantly, and yeah, that was just the ending to that. You know what I mean? Like that, just like. But I think that by that time, I already made a decision that I wanted to do music. Like, so you know, that kind of just confirmed everything for me and like hit the coffin with the nail. You know.
yeah.
So
So
yeah.
that was the real thing that made you pursue music and pursue it full time. How would you describe your sound, and what influence over time has it changed?
Um. Well, you know, from I think that early out because of my travels, I was a lot more open-minded to newer sounds and different kind of sounds just by the influences of the African music and being exposed to what was playing in the household, you know. I think I was exposed to a lot more than the average kid musically, you know, from a young age, you know. And I think I would describe my sound. I think we're in a time right now where if you ask a kid or any youth from my generation, it's the hardest question you can ask somebody is what's your sound or what genre do you know? Because I feel like we're in the days of now where it's like becoming very genreless because of globalization, because of the internet. And definitely my foundation and my root is reggae. This is Jamaica. Come on, this is where I come from and I grew up in. But yo, the sound is a global sound, man. I think reggae music is a global sound
So
and
do
one of the
I.
most commercial music, effortlessly commercial music, you know?
Yeah, and it's in 432 hertz,
Yeah.
isn't it? Which is the sound of the universe. When you write your
Yes.
when you write your music, where are you usually sitting? Are you inside? Are you outside? Where do you write?
Well, it's like for me, I do a lot of living
Yeah.
first. You know, that's the first thing. We have to live first. You know, I'm not one of those artists to like force myself and like I need to go to the like and algorithm. I need to post. I need like I try to really um nurture the inspiration and make sure that my life that I'm living is living in an artist way.
Yeah.
So like I'm receiving a lot more and looking at different conversations a little bit differently, or you know, different things that's happening in the foreground over there, like um viewing it and living in that way. And it's like you're almost like gaining this inspiration, and then I try to show up to the studio when it's time to make music now and just kind of let those things pass through me effortlessly, especially now. But I spend a lot of time in my home studio,
Yeah.
um, where I write a lot of my songs there. You know, I prefer to make music by myself. Like when I'm trying to make a special song or trying to like get out a particular feeling because it's so vulnerable for me. You know what I mean? And it's real feelings and real emotions where sometimes it's kind of like weird for do that in front of people. But then no, you know, when it come on to certain lyrics and flow as an artist, as a lyricist, like we'll make music with other people as well, you know. But yeah.
What was going on in your life when you made, I love the song Pressure, like that, I love your music,
Yes.
but I love Pressure. What was going on in your life
Yes.
when you wrote that?
I feel like yo, I was living hand to mouth, man. Like where everything that we're doing as an artist, because we're independent, is just like yo, we're on this rhythm and we're trying to keep up with the system. You know what I mean? And it's talking about the third world struggle specifically, but I feel like because it's such a universal struggle, it's a struggle that anybody can relate to. You know what I mean? Because I feel like since COVID, mentally and even economically, and the world just been in a very weird space. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's just this like intense pressure to try
Yeah.
and keep up with your day-to-day life. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I went deeper to talk about some of the social comment, adding some social commentary to the music and talking about like the current political and economic situation in Jamaica right now. And yeah,
Yeah, that's
and we went to-
amazing,
we-
amazing
we went-
song.
we went to Ghana, you know, like a lot of this, the body of work, Blood and Fire that I'm working on right now, the album that's going to be released this summer, a lot of the sounds feels like Africa. So we went to Ghana to shoot Pressure, you know, and Time. And those are the two records that we just released. And it feels, and now you can hear it, but it feels very Afrocentric, and it's that rhythm, and you know what I mean. And I'm glad that you like Pressure, because I like Pressure too. I'm proud of that record, you know, produced by
truly
Major
very
Seven
proud.
and myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe we're almost out of time. What are you striving for? Just last question. And also Wayne Jobson, who gave me these, sends his regards.
Okay. Big up. Yeah.
What would you like to achieve in your career?
Just being authentically and unapologetically myself, you know, and sharing that with the world. Because, you know, all you have is yourself, you know. You're born into this world as who you are and who you is, and we want to amplify that and embrace that and show people to love who they are, you know what I mean? But I don't really look at life like that, you know, like what am I trying, you know, like there is a great impact that I really want to make with my music, and I hope that my music can provide comfort for people. And, you know, there's also a goal where I can overcome the financial struggles of life on a whole, so we can start doing a lot more philanthropy work through the music. You know what I mean? But I mean, I really, I can't, you know, I kind of take time just a day at a time, you know what I mean, and a season at a time, you know, and kind of, I let the melody kind of, right now with where I'm at in my life, I'm letting the melody kind of tell a story and kind of like,
Tell you where you go.
after a while, I know, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Kismandu. You're so authentic, and it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you.
And I appreciate you guys sharing the platform and bringing reggae music to Australia and bringing conscious, and because you're doing a lot of stuff. I checked up on the program and seeing all the platform that you're creating for Jamaican and reggae music, you know, so we give thanks.
Yeah, might even have Cindy
you're a
Breakspear
beacon of the
next
culture.
week.
What? Big things.
Yeah.
Man.
Lovely to talk to you. Thank you, Kez.
All right. Love. Yeah, man.
In the Driver's Seat is brought to you by the Perfect Cosmetics Company. This is Ticker, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.